So I'm going to ask you one thing. This is for your listeners. Okay, I'm going to ask you each a question for your listeners. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're talking, or your viewers, your listeners. So you're talking to me like when I write, and here you are making a show, but there's energy behind why you're doing it. There's energy behind. You want it to be you want to be inspirational, positive
Mhm.
content. And all.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm asking you, Bill, why did you want that? And what would you say to your listener if you could thank them for that? Why would that matter to
The reason I want it is when we started this several years ago, Skip, there was just too much negativity out there. And I've always been a positive person. I always try to look on the bright side. And so when I was able to combine my love of doing something like this, I enjoy being behind a microphone. I love being able to work with my partner. And the bottom line is we kind of evolved. And every story and every person we had on was even more amazing than the last. And so we continued to do it and move forward with it. And the more we did it, the more opportunities we had to have people on to share their stories. And the energy, it's like there's nothing else I'd rather do. It is literally what I live to do. It's a passion that I've had for many, many years. And I think kind of like that feeling you got when you got to Wyoming and you're doing what you've been doing these last few years. It's kind of what I've been doing. After all those years in the corporate world and all that stuff, I get to do what I love to do with a person that I enjoy working with and getting to have people like you. How does it get any better than that?
And what would you say to your viewers and listeners if you knew
Oh,
for sure they were going to understand your gratitude
yeah,
and thanks?
I think the bottom line is when we first started and people were like, well, who are these guys? What are they doing? And is this going to stick? Are they going to? And then next thing you know, they people realize that, oh, wait a minute, these guys actually have conversations. So to those who have followed us and gone through all the issues with social media and everything to listen and watch our show and offer comments and feedback, it's more fuel, it's more energy, and it makes us want to do more and do better things. And one last thing, it's that connection that you talked about. I love the connection we get to have with our guests. I love the connection that we get to have with the people watching and listening. And I appreciate every single person that's helped us along this journey because we're just getting started.
Nice. That's great to hear. See, I learned a little bit more about your heart when I said I don't get to talk to you. All right, so Rosie,
Can
and
I
so
say ditto just to everything he said?
okay, sure, but I'm going to ask you a different question. I figured you guys are going to flee. All right, check this out. So, how long have you been doing it?
6 years.
Geez. Yeah.
6 years.
A couple
All
of
right.
hiatuses here and there with
Well,
the pandemic and everything, but
yeah, I guess it's been about 6 years. Yeah.
So Rosie, in that amount of time, because I think you were saying ditto with the positivity and just the feelings, the things that you're trying to cultivate, the energies you're trying to
The
cultivate.
connections. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Connection. Yeah. So if you look back, is there a particular episode that actually touched you the most?
Oh my goodness.
That had that you went, oh my gosh, in my life that just made a difference. Is there? It doesn't have to be like the only one, but if something came to mind, which one would that be?
Well, first of all, before I answer that question, because I can answer that question specifically, but first of all, I want to say that the thing that I have noticed in the course of doing the show, I study spiritual arts, and I'm seeing that many of the things that I'm studying and learning about, our guests are already implementing in their life. It's already the way they're living their lives without even talking about it. You know what I mean? That's just the way they're embodying these spiritual truths that I'm studying. So I find it amazing. And I get to see examples of, yes, this is someone who's really applying, these principles in their lives, just, and this relationship with God and all of those kinds of things. But in regards to episodes, I love there's something special about every single guest that we have on the show. And even days when I'm tired and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I have the energy for this. Then we start talking to people. And at the end, there's something that inevitably touches my heart. And I'm like, oh my God, Bill, that was so cool. Like, this person is amazing. Like, I'm so glad that we did this and we had this conversation. But that said, 2 episodes come to mind. We interviewed Tony Orlando, and this man has had an incredible amount of success. And I don't know that we had ever met someone, you know, that has experienced the career that he has, that had that degree of humility.
Mm-hmm.
He was so kind and so caring and genuine with everyone, because we've met him on a number of occasions. And the fact that he came on our show and he was complimenting us, and then he shared these incredible stories. I felt like I was part of music history talking to this man, and that he was just so kind to us. So I felt like, wow, this was really a gift. And then we also interviewed the late Bobby Rydell, and that's someone I grew up watching, you know, Bye Bye Birdie and all those kinds of things. And again, a guy who didn't have to say yes, like any of our guests. They didn't have to say yes to come and talk to us. And not only did they, but they were so down to earth and treated us like equals, even though, you know, maybe in some people's mind, we're kind of starting out and they're way up here, you know. So it was, yeah, they were really just cool experiences. And I also, people that my parents would know, and they would be proud that, oh, we're meeting people that they admired in their lives.
Well, it sounds like you have some lovely aspirations too. So I'm glad I got to hear those answers. I bet the folks watching are glad they got to hear you talk about that. So, and I am going to look back on your episodes and see and go and find that.